Hi, this is Debbie.
This is Mark.
And we want to welcome you to Week 3 Challenge of the Top Chef Canyon ISD Classroom Edition. We are excited this week to have Amarillo National Bank be our sponsor. We are grateful to their support for student learning and for this contest. Mark, tell us a little bit about the Quickfire Challenge this week.
Well, as you guys are aware, Debbie's emailed you a list of high-yield strategies from Lead Forward. This week, we're going to be looking at 5 new strategies. We're going to be looking at reading symbols, T-chart, stage it, connect the dots, and odd one out. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight odd one out and show you a couple of examples of how you might use this in class. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you is if you look at the Lead Forward chart, the thing that's interesting to me is if you look to the right, look at the high-level thinking strategies that can be used with the odd one out high-yield strategy. You've got interpreting, summarizing, communicating, sequencing, compare and contrast, cause and effect, synthesizing, predicting, and justifying. All high-level, high-yield strategies. Okay, the first one I'm going to show you comes from 8th grade American history, and the standard here deals with our students' ability to be able to identify the major eras and events in their U.S. history class. So I chose this particular odd one out, and there's 4 pictures, so we would put the students in groups of 4, okay, and they would look at the 4 pictures, and as a group, they would select the picture that they felt like did not belong. That would be the first step. The second step, and probably the more important step, is to write a justification for their reasoning. So if we're going to tie this back to the standard, the students would probably select the picture of Frederick Douglass down here in the bottom left corner. Frederick Douglass was a person of note from the sectionalism and Civil War era, while the other 3 pictures all come from the Revolutionary era. So that would be, as it relates to the standard. Another, if they're really on their game, they might determine that 3 of those are lithographs, which are things that we talk about in history, and another one is a picture of the Declaration of Independence, and they could write their justification based on that. So there are multiple answers. What I'm really interested in, and I would go back and clarify and verify the Frederick Douglass as the teacher, but again, we want the kids thinking and justifying. The second example I chose comes again from 8th grade history. It's identifying, and kids are asked again a readiness standard, and so it's asking the kids to identify the selected racial, ethnic, and religious groups that settled in the United States. So I chose this particular and put these pictures together, and again the kids would be in groups of 4. They'd look at the 4 pictures and determine which picture did not belong. In this particular case, there could be multiple answers, but in tying it back to the standard, what I'd probably be looking for, or that I want to go back and clarify and verify, is that the Dutch, the picture in the bottom right-hand corner, were ethnic group. The other 3 pictures are of religious groups, and the Dutch settled for economic reasons, while the religious groups settled for, obviously, religious freedom regions. So it gives me a chance to have a really good conversation with my kids, and again, what I'm looking for is their justifications and being able to share their ideas out loud with the class as we go through that process.
Great, Mark. Thanks for sharing. I'm going to share just a few more before we end. And I love T-charts. We use them all the time for all kinds of different reasons, but this one was kind of fun because it's using objects and letting the students have objects from the columns that words that start with P and words that don't start with P. So just a fun way to think outside the box of the way you might use T-charts. One that I love, of course, is a Google document, and this is a template that I shared with you in the email, and your students can take that template, open it up, make a copy, and create their own T-chart, pulling in pictures and different words that they want to represent their learning. You will also have a video in the email showing you how to do this, how to pull in the pictures, and how to use the template. So if this is something you want to use with Chromebooks or your laptops or your iPads, it might be a fun thing to try with your students. So T-charts and Google templates. This is an iPad app called T-charts, and it looks like this on the pros and cons. When you're looking for it in the App Store, it's free, and it lets you create pros and cons within the app. And this is an example from a high school English classroom with Black Like Me. And the kids can use pros or yes or cons or no's, and they can compare and organize their thinking and capture that with a screenshot of the iPad. The other one that I absolutely love is the Skitch App. It's also free, and it'll allow you to do a multitude of things, but one is to create a T-chart using the Skitch App. and they read a story about a monster and how he behaved in school, and then they can compare and contrast how their students in the classroom behave, and they can put that together easily, and it's just fun and engaging for the students. Another example of the Skitch app is using this for reading passages and to mark reading symbols to represent in-head action. So this is one of your strategies this week, but you just take a picture of the short article on alligators, and then they can use the stamps to represent background knowledge, a question, connections, and sensory things that they feel when they're reading. So might look at Skitch for that. Here's another example of a Google template that I've shared with you, and it's Connect the Dots, and it has 4 different items that you can add to the template and then let the students make connections. In this specific one, we used 2 books, Sheila Ray the Brave and also Amelia Lost. So we made connections to ourselves. The students would make a connection on what they know and what they've experienced, but also the world. And in this example, it would be the U.S. Army. So you can see this example, and you'll receive the template in the email for the Connect the Dots. I love this one, some higher level thinking and letting kids make connections with what they've read. And then, oh my gosh, Mark, Amarillo National Bank is giving away 2 iPads this week, not just one. So we're excited about that. And here's how you get your name in the drawing more than once. If you do one of the strategies, then your name goes in the drawing. If you do 2 of the 5, your name goes in twice. If you do a 3rd strategy, would go in 3 times, and 4 and 5. So you could do all 5 strategies if you want and get your name in the hat for 5 times. But then one other way that you could add your name to the hat is if you use one of the apps and the templates that we've talked about. So the Chrome template, the T-Chart app, or the Skitch app. If you use one of those, then you can have your name in an additional time. So however many strategies you want to try this week, put your hand to it and try it out. And if you want to try one of the technology pieces, you can. If you just do one strategy, your name's still in the hat, and you've got a great chance of winning. So thank you, Amarillo National Bank, for 2 iPads this week. We look forward to that. And we have the campus cook-off, and we are seeing some hot and spicy races this week, and we will report out next week where all of the campuses stand to win that hamburger cookout provided by Education Credit Union. So we look forward to seeing all your tweets. Can't wait to see what you come up with this week for your students. Serve them something great and tasty, and we would just want to leave you with bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Good luck.